Happy Friday, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to our first unscripted show of 2025. Hopefully your new year is off to a great start. It's been a pretty cold start to the year so far and pretty snowy. So let's bring in our meteorologist, Trevor Robideau. So Trevor, will we continue to see more snow and cool temperatures this weekend?
Yes, we will. Although I don't think we'll have nearly as much snow, especially on Sunday, as we did today. Some areas tomorrow could still pile up snow. It really depends on where you are. But in most areas, especially if you're outside of the main northwest snow belt regions, you're probably not going to see a whole lot tomorrow. And as the day progresses, you'll continue to see less and less and less. Although many areas could still wake up to snow in the morning. But beyond that, temperatures is the other story. We had that brief warm-up right after Christmas at the end of last year, but now winter has swung back into things here to start the new year 2025. We've had a lot more snow. It's colder. We'll continue to see that over the course of the next 7 days. So I'll talk about that and cover our weekend in just a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Trevor. And our top story tonight came as a bit of a surprise for residents and for lawmakers. The DNR is seeking bids for a solar farm on state land near Gaylord. Now, the land would be leased, but any trees in the way would have to be cut down. So our Daniel Zivian spoke with the DNR to confirm these plans and has reaction from local lawmakers as well.
A report published Thursday got ahead of the DNR's schedule, revealing plans for a solar farm on state land in Hayes Township, Otsego County. It was a shock for State House member and Hayes Township resident Ken Borton.
My phone just blew up. I mean, literally texts and phone calls and emails. I've got 140 acres of just prime forest land here that I've worked over the years. I've had it forested by professionals for the health of the forest, and never, ever would have dreamed of just clear cutting the property completely.
The DNR says some of the land is already cleared and was chosen partly because a solar project was already approved on adjacent private land.
It's close to the electrical transmission corridor, which makes it a big advantage for solar energy. It's also in a place where we've been told the electrical grid can take more electrons. And so because of that, it seems to be a site that if you made it a little bit bigger, it would be a viable project there.
Whitcomb says the DNR accepts that it's a tough choice to cut down the trees, especially since the Michigan Healthy Climate Plan appears to recommend the opposite, saying to avoid increasing greenhouse gas emissions in land use.
One of the things that we'd like to do on this project is use some of the revenue to buy replacement forest land elsewhere that the public would be able to use.
If there's some private people with private property that want to do it, I think that's between them and the local government. But as far as using state land, property that belongs to all the people of Michigan, to do something like this without getting their input is absolutely wrong.
This is the very beginning of a process. It doesn't mean that this site will definitely be developed, but it's something we're looking at.
In Gaylord, Daniel Zivian, UpNorthLive News.
And something worth noting, I think we do have a map here that we can show you. So this project is different from another solar project south of Gaylord. So let's not confuse the two. It is a fully private enterprise and construction is expected to begin this spring. So let's bring in our Daniel Zivian, who reported on this story today, for more on this. Hey, Danny, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Not able to hear you, Danny. Hold on, we'll click some buttons. It might be on our end. So we'll keep you around for a minute. If not, we'll bring you back in a little later if it doesn't work out. But okay, yep, we're gonna bring you back in a little later. Let's turn things over to our question of the day right now, and we will touch base with Danny again in a second. So our question is, do you think it's possible for Michigan to reach 100% carbon neutrality by 2050? You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. That'll take you to our website where you can vote. As of right now, we have 208 votes, and 88% of people are saying no, 12% are saying yes. And we do have some Facebook comments too, so could be interesting to see why people are voting pretty heavily for no on that one. But guys in the back, do we want to bring Danny back in or move on to our next story? Okay, so we're gonna move on to our next story, and hopefully we'll touch base with Danny again a little later, because I know I have some questions about his story. I'm sure you might as well. So moving on to state news, this is a story that we have been following for quite some time now. So tonight, restaurants and groups are calling on state lawmakers to reverse a decision to increase the state's minimum wage. So they fear that raising the minimum wage will eliminate the tip credit, and then that'll lead to the loss of jobs in the restaurant industry. So Carter Landis with our sister station is in Grand Rapids with more on how this affects servers and also customers.
There are 7 weeks until the new minimum wage law takes effect, and restaurants and partnership groups hope it's reversed before they start to feel the effects. The Michigan Supreme Court decision would raise minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2029, therefore eliminating the tip credit by 2030. This has restaurants and partnership groups alike concerned that they will lose jobs and more restaurants will have to shut down.
We're gonna have to pick and choose who we want to work. And I don't wanna do that, because then they lose their jobs, and then what do they do? Because they're really gonna be impacted by that a lot.
Justin Winslow of the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association foresees major job loss if the law goes into effect. He says the state could lose up to 60,000 jobs in the restaurant industry. With new legislature taking over next week, Winslow feels this could be a fresh start to getting the law reversed.
They heard restaurant workers, they believe restaurant workers, they want to do what they can to alleviate a whole lot of job loss that's avoidable still.
Carrie Hinton, the general manager of the Red Geranium Cafe in Grand Rapids, says weekends are their busiest days. They usually make about $5,000 on Saturdays and Sundays. If the law goes into effect, she says they could lose around $2,000 to $3,000. They would also have to reduce the number of servers from 5 to 2.
It won't be the teamwork situation where you have a hostess, you have a server, you know what I mean? They all each have their own jobs, so they won't be able to do that anymore. So we'll end up doing everybody's job at one time, you know? So that's gonna be a difficult situation when we have that.
Pat Hilton of Restaurant Partners Management is also concerned, preparing for the elimination of the tip credit. Hilton hoping the law is reversed so restaurants don't lose quality customer service.
We don't want our industry to turn into an automated industry. And with the increase in costs, that will have to be a decision that we have to figure out, whether or not we have to go that way as well.
The new legislative session begins on Wednesday, January 8th, and restaurant groups hope they make this a top priority. In Grand Rapids, I'm Carter Landis.
Okay, we are going to go back to our reporter Daniel Zivian and talk more about the proposed solar project near Gaylord. So, Danny, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Maya?
I can hear you. Okay, glad to have you, Danny. So let's get right into it. So the start of your story, we came out and said that this solar project came as a surprise for both lawmakers and for residents because the plans were released early. Oh, no, now we just lost Danny's video, which is one of those days. You just can't win. Can you still hear us, Danny? Oh, no. Sorry, I'm so sorry about that, folks. I'm not sure what's going on, but 2025 Unscripted is off to a fun start. Okay, we can try to bring Danny back in and cross our fingers, or let's move on. Okay, so we have some more lighter stories we can share with you. Hopefully at some point we'll get to talk with Danny. I'm so sorry about that. So excitement is building for Tip Up Town in Houghton Lake. It is preparing for the 75th anniversary of that. The Chamber of Commerce is getting ready for the event. They're preparing to host its kickoff party, and Taste of Houghton Lake event tomorrow. So this kickoff brings together several local restaurants to compete in a best food in town competition, and that's followed by a queen contest, voting for mayor and marshal, hometown hero, and auction.
Well, it's our 75th anniversary, so we decided to make it our diamond anniversary, and we called it Diamond Jubilee Sparkle and Shine. And we're just trying to have fun with our event, and we felt that gave us a platform to build on for all of our people that are going to join us in the parade, and buy the badges that they'll have something to work with.
And Jacob says he hopes this year the weather will stay snowy and cold so they can actually utilize the lake for its snowmobile drag racing and side-by-side racing. Tip Up Town will take place the last 2 weekends in January at the DNR boat launch on Town Line Road. Okay, now we have a really great story to share with you. So the Kalkaska County Commission on Aging is inviting the community to help celebrate the birthday of one of its oldest veterans. So let's take a look at this video. The commission is asking the community to write birthday cards for this man right here. This is Cecil Peck. He is turning 103 years old. He is the oldest surviving veteran in the entire county. So staff are hoping to celebrate his birthday by surprising him with, of course, he's turning 103, so he needs 103 birthday cards. So if you would like to drop off a card to wish Cecil a very happy 103rd birthday, you can drop them off to the Commission on Aging. They can also be mailed, and the cards will be collected until February 4th, and they'll be given to Cecil on his birthday, which is February 8th. Okay, we are now gonna go back to Danny and see if we can talk more about the DNR solar power project. I was hoping to end our A block with the Kalkaska story, so such a good one. But we'll end it with you, Danny, and hopefully we don't have any more audio or video issues.
Absolutely, Maya. It turns out when phone calls come into the phone while this is happening, it ruins everything. And next time we're putting on Do Not Disturb.
That'll do it. Well, hey, now we know. So yeah, moving forward, hopefully this doesn't happen again. So at least we have you now. So what I was saying earlier, right before you got that phone call, was it sounds like the reason why this project came as a surprise was because it was announced maybe before the DNR had initially planned to announce it?
Yeah, so this was, I guess you could say leaked. We don't really know for sure. A reporter downstate did all of this independently. It would be easy to assume that the reporter was tipped off from someone inside the DNR. That would be an easy assumption to make, but we simply don't know for sure. What we do know is that there were FOIA requests made, and this goes back to the fall, and eventually there was enough information for this report to come out yesterday. So yeah, the DNR was planning to announce things later this month. In fact, Scott Whitcomb told me that part of the reason they wanted to announce it in January was so that it wouldn't be announced during the holidays. If you announce it during the holidays, it's very easy to make it seem like you're trying to bury something. They wanted everyone to see this. So it's a sort of a rock and a hard place in terms of when and when not to announce such a thing. But now it doesn't even matter. In the end, it was leaked.
So what is happening right now is the DNR is seeking bids for the solar farm on state land. So do they need to get any sort of approval from the township? Do they need to have a public hearing? Like, what are the steps that need to happen?
Not necessarily needing approval. You kind of picture two parallel tracks. The first track is, hey, we are putting out this idea and we want proposals for bids to come in, and here's, such and such information about the project side, what we're looking to do here. On a separate track, simultaneously, they also, put this notice out to the local authorities and say, hey, if enough of you want public input to happen, if this is something that's deemed necessary, if the public demands it, we will, hold some stuff, we will have some meetings. Scott would not say specifically, but at this point I would not be surprised if we do end up having some meetings for public comment and public input. And then the DNR may decide to take a different course of action afterwards if that's what they feel needs to happen. Or they might take a different course of action if the bids come in and they don't like any of it, or they don't think the money makes any sense. That's how preliminary this all is. Things could change if they get a proposal and realize, wait, this project actually wouldn't work the way we think it will work. But either way, the final decision does rest with the DNR.
And to just kind of reiterate things that you already mentioned in your story, what are the biggest concerns from residents and lawmakers about this plan?
The concern I would say twofold. First off, there's, deforestation. As we've since learned, now that we have the map, there is a lot of that land that is already clear, but there are still a lot of trees on those allotted squares. And people are wondering, hey, if we're going in on solar and the whole point of solar is renewable energy, then why are we cutting down trees, which, the best possible thing in the world for, keeping in emissions is just having more trees. Why not put it in a field in such and such place? And again, the rationale that was provided was, had to do with the locality of both the power lines and also the fact that a private project was already approved right there. Although, of course, the other thing that might upset people when it comes to another solar development, especially in Otsego County, where there's already another one close by on on a more industrial property, but still, is there is the cultural and political aspect to it. Solar is just something we've been covering for the past year. I mean, we've been covering it for longer. In my time here at the station, we've covered a different fight, which is, there was a law that concerned townships and cities that the state would be able to work directly with, farmers, for example, on permitting for solar projects on private land. There was a huge outcry regarding that. I covered the Little Trout Project in Presque County, which is all on private land, is all private, but that was like an interpersonal problem between neighbors who were for it and against it. But here, I guess there's an issue of balance we have to, consider here. If there's too much controversy around private landowners getting permission to have panels on their land, then what is the state going to decide to do? Well, the state has certain lands available to them, and a lot of them are forests. There might be some people who want to have their cake and eat it too and have no solar panels whatsoever.
Right.
There does seem to be a little bit too much momentum in the industry for that to be the case. Once we've made peace with the fact that there are going to be solar panels, then you can have a good faith discussion on this balance between, letting farmers put them over their lands and the ramifications of property around that, or taking out forests. I know I'm going on a bit here.
Sorry, Dan. I was going to say, we do have to let you go because we are running out of time. We had those issues that kind of cut into our time. So thank you so much for joining us. We do need to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
If you have any weekend plans, I'm sure you're curious what the weather is going to be like, especially if you are traveling. So let's turn things over to Trevor Robideau. Trevor, more snow in the forecast this weekend?
We do have more snow in the forecast, although the weekend won't see as much of it as we did today. I'm going to start with our weather headlines, just real quick, wrap this up. We do have those pink shaded counties are the winter storm warnings that are still in effect until 4 a.m. tonight. The winter weather advisories, which are the purple shaded counties, will end at the top of the hour less than 30 minutes from now. And again, that's because we're going to see lake effect snow dwindling over the course of the night and through a good majority of tomorrow, too. It's still going to be pretty high in some areas, especially in those northwest snowbelt regions towards the Sioux and Chippewa County, potentially in Luce County as well, and also in the northern lower around Gaylord, Boyne City. Good amounts of Charlevoix and Antrim counties could still get a decent amount of snow over the course of tonight, but going into tomorrow, past the morning, which does still look to be pretty snowy, into the afternoon and evening, we should cut off a lot of our snow chances, or at least see dwindling snow chances, especially if you're outside of the northwest snowbelt region. So as the day rolls on, you'll see less and less snow. Except in Chippewa County, it looks like a heavy snow band could set up through the course of the day there. They look to get the majority of our snow tomorrow. So here's a quick look at the snowfall forecast through tomorrow, or through tomorrow morning rather. So the northwest snowbelt regions, potentially another 2 to 4 inches outside of that, far less. The Sioux, though, and parts of Chippewa County could see another half a foot potentially overnight and continue to get more and more over the day as well with that heavy snow band that we're looking to set up around there. Everywhere else in the northern lower, you're not going to add too much throughout the course of the day. At maximum, I think maybe 3 inches. Outside of that, not much. Maybe even flurries at best for some people outside those areas. Tonight, 13 to 19 lake effect snow showers. Tomorrow, same thing, but less of it, especially as the day rolls on. And beyond that, we're going to stick with the colder temperatures. Next lake effect snow event, widespread, looks Wednesday.
All right, thanks so much for that, Trevor. Don't go anywhere just yet. Coming up next, Sports Director Harrison Beebe has part 2 of his conversation with former Traverse City Central Trojan Josh Burnham, who is heading to the college football playoff semifinals with his Fighting Irish teammates. That story is coming up next.
How much pride do you take knowing that you're representing Traverse City Central in this college football playoff and all the great achievements of Northern Michigan athletes and showing, hey, that you can take your talents to the next level and you can literally excel as far as you're showing us here that you can compete for a national championship?
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm very, very blessed, and I take a lot of pride in it. I love being able to help give back to the community and everything, and being able to still stay in contact with a lot of people back home, and just knowing how proud they are. It definitely makes you go to work every day.
Yeah, I've seen you on the sidelines a couple times since you've been back, and yeah, it's good to know that you know you're not just one of those alumni following from afar. You're actually still going to games and checking out the guys on Fridays when you have an off week or whatnot. So, how important is that to you to stay strong with the Traverse City Central program?
It's a lot. I mean, a lot of those kids looked up to me when I was in high school, and same thing when I was in middle school, looking up at at the Central high schoolers. It was a big deal to me. I mean, I remember writing like letters to some of the players to just try and like pick their brain. And same thing, there have been kids in high school now that have reached out to me and asked for like what they could do, what they should focus on. And I think that's a big thing to have, especially for everyone. I mean, being able to ask those questions to see what is needed. It's been awesome.
Well, one bonus question for you. Have you played the video game yet as yourself?
Yeah, I have.
Pretty cool. You're in the college football playoff. You're also able to play as yourself in an NCAA video game. I mean, tell me about that experience when you did it, I assume this summer.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, very different. I mean, not a lot of people can say that they can play as themselves in a video game. So, I mean, when we were here on campus this summer, just playing some of the buddies on the team, and just seeing yourself out there on the game, it's very surreal. It's been awesome.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Let's take another look at our question of the day. Do you think it's possible for Michigan to reach 100% carbon neutrality by 2050? If you haven't voted yet, you can scan the QR code on your screen right now, but you can see the results on your screen. 11% of people say yes, whereas 89% say no. You can also join in on the conversation by going to our Facebook, Up North Live. Well, that'll do it tonight for Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.